calling our meeting to order at 4:38, Monday, April 24th. And we begin by our introductions. Pat, go ahead.
Pat, Port Floyd. Scabrilia, board member.
Debbie Godden, Port employee.
Kim Natoli, Port employee.
Tom Schneider, board member.
Kitty Macy, board member.
Sean Carter Smith, board member.
Connie Casamento, board member.
Fran Enright and Zoom board member.
Russian's gay, and I might be board member.
Thank you very much. Okay. Our first order of business is to approve the minutes of March 20th, 2023 for our regular monthly meeting. And we need a motion for that.
Second.
Stan, John. No discussion, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Passed. Second order of business is our administrative operational report, Exhibit B in your folder. Yeah,
Yeah, currently at the West Dock, we've got a contractor that's going to be doing a cable project. And it's going to be for 2 months, load the barge with cable going to the Stony Island mobilization project. Container study. I understand that we're still working on we're working on the container study. Yeah, it's the same thing. Even the next project, the new contract of the West Dock. That's the, I reached out to Carl Rhodes and stuff today for back at the first half of the West Dock for the bid for the construction. Never got a call back from him yet, so I'm not sure where that is yet. Bill, like I said, Bill's on the computer now. He knows more about the PDI, the PIDP application and the breakwall project. I'm not sure if Bill wants to step in and talk about those because he knows more about those than I do.
Yeah, I can. 2 grants, one's an EDA we've been working on for about 4 months now. To refresh everyone's memory, you hear me, is that it is for additional rail into the port that would give us a third more rail capacity on brand new ship loader, which would be doubling our loading speed for grain and be having an articulating head that would be remote, that we would be able to fill the ships in more of a staggered way so we don't have to break as much. We're still, as of today, I just sent another piece of paperwork out. Debbie helped me with on an update for it. It's a reoccurring grant, so it's not like a due date, but it's one of those grants where unless you get your name on the pile and you get your name on the top of the pile, you'll never get the money. It looks pretty good. The PIDP grant, which is Port Infrastructure Development Program, be honest with you, I don't think we're going to be able to have it finished this year, this cycle, I should say. There is a lot of estimation on cost that CNS just hasn't been able to produce yet. So we're hoping it's due on the 28th. Elizabeth has a lot of what needs to be written and the narrative done, but it looks like we're not going to be able to apply for this one until fall. As far as that goes, I would like to add about the Operation Oswego County joint ad. I gave that to everybody. Did everybody receive that? I would like to note that Austin Wheelock, the new executive director, and I have been working lockstep on both Micron and other projects. And I think this is the new normal with the port, is working with Operation Oswego County, the IDA very closely, doing joint ads and facilitating for business and job development in Oswego County with this type of an effort. As far as the break wall projects goes, we have quoted so far 3 companies. I received an email today, 10 million is gonna go out in 2024, that's next year. So we're now at a point where we'll probably have one of the larger companies, working here for most of next year. And all the quotes, as Pat will tell you, or Debbie, we didn't hold back our value, I would like to say. We are a valuable asset, and we're getting paid well for that value. Outside of that, I want to thank everybody, Pat, Debbie, for holding the fort down. Pat's doing a great job, and Debbie is too. Today is my first day back working from home on a limited basis with Zoom and phone calls and email. I'm going to work in this next week like this, and then hopefully in 4 weeks, maybe 5, I'll be running around with a cane. So, until then, be nice to everybody. I'm trying to put fights out now right now. So, outside of that, thank you, and I'll just sit on the side and listen. Pat doing great jobs, and he can take over.
Thanks, Bill. Any more, Pat?
Well, we do have, one other thing as discussed last month. They did have the survey, I haven't got the paperwork back yet, but the survey company did come in for the LT5. Mercedes is supposed to get back with me in the next day or two. We did help them by paying half of the bill, so that they can get all the paperwork done for the next step on getting grant money to work on the top.
Was it T-Fuel?
No, not yet.
Oh, not yet.
No, they know about the fueling. I've got 3 companies. I just sent the sample of the fuel to Paragon Environmental Services. They needed a sample because he was telling me that if they use it, the sample comes back whatever way it is. They can either put it in their equipment and run it that way, or they're gonna have to burn it at a facility. So without knowing if there's, what's in there, they won't know the price-wise to give to me to figure that out. And back with the LT5 again, as agreed with everybody here, I was able to get a price, and I ordered 2 mooring ropes, 2 250-foot mooring ropes for the LT5. Those should be coming in, I'm hoping next week. We've got, our first ship is gonna be here this Thursday. We've got a potash ship coming in to be put in the domes, and this coming Saturday will be our very first aluminum barge for the season will be coming in. So now we're starting to gear up and getting ready for everything that we can get.
Hey, Pat,
Yes.
I need to know about a couple things. The Dome 4, are we done with that secret process? Have you heard anything? Bill, have you heard anything?
We want to discuss that in executive session, if you would, please, because, yes, a little.
I just don't want to overlook it. And the other one is probably executive session is going to be the RV park.
Yes.
And I didn't hear anything about the new marina, when the docks are expected to be delivered and when they're expected to be installed.
The dock, they're laying concrete Wednesday morning. They're gonna start putting the concrete on the west side of Golden for the first stage of the fingers. That'll be started at 8 o'clock Wednesday morning. They've done a lot of landscaping now, setting everything up. The docks, from what Malone's has told me, I think in the next 2 weeks, they're building docks now, they're gonna start bringing them in 2 or 3 at a time on a tractor trailer. We're gonna be staging them at the west pier, the west dock, so that everything is there. Rombo Electric is trying to get everything, getting ready to start their stuff after Malone's is done with theirs. So everything is starting to roll, it's just rolling slow right now.
Thanks.
All right. All set? Any questions? All right, we will go on then to administrative financial reports.
Yeah, I'll just, as Finance Committee Chair, pick up and comment. It is the March 31st fiscal year end, so these will be the numbers that will be audited. There'll be adjustments made to these, primarily non-cash items. If you look from a balance sheet standpoint, again, I've talked about this before, the current asset to current liability ratio is really strong. If you're looking at a mid-sized business that was producing 5 to 10 million in revenue per annum, this would be a great current ratio, a great debt to equity ratio for a business to have. So the balance sheet is very strong, and a lot of it, comes about both through the operations. You get deductions from the depreciation, but then you're really you're gaining in terms of the value of those fixed assets as they're depreciating. But what you see on the income statement year over year, in the operating section, you see a very strong performance against the prior year. So I'd be on page 1 or 2 of the profit and loss statement. You have, the income, after cost of goods sold, 7.1 million against a prior year of 2.6 million. So you have a $4.5 million increase over the prior period. And I think if you move down through the income statement and you look, you're also going to have all of the higher expenses commensurate with that, whether it's personal expenses, whether it's insurance expenses, the pension items, the professional services. I think we just had a lot of legal expenses throughout the year, and part of those were various negotiations. But if you go below, if you go to the following page, 202, and you look at below the net ordinary income line item, 1.8 million in profit versus $750,000 loss in the prior year, and also 1.85 million against the $347 million budgets. I think reflecting the strength of the execution of the strategy, both upon the grain mill, the ability to handle the parts for the windmills, and then I think some increases in aluminum, and a couple of other items, and you're going to have this year some items that come through from the Army Corps of Engineers as they do the break wall and the dredging. But if you look below the line at other income and expense, you see a drastic difference in year to year, and it really is primarily the grants for the establishment of the agricultural center. So in 2022, you have the money coming in the form of the grant, then being expensed on the building of the silo and all the other components that go with it, as well as all the labor. And this year you're seeing the beginnings of the benefit of the revenue from that. That is March 2023. If you take a look at the following page, the marina makes a good profit of a little over $250,000 per year. I think probably a lot of that depends a little bit on expense allocation of some of the personnel costs, but that's certainly positive reflected. If you look at the following graphs, you'll see that, the primary income months are, begin in April, as Pat was just indicating, tips coming in. And then it's, May through September, you start to slide in October. I think November was really grant money more than activity. And then, income slides off in the winter months. There's a good breakdown here of where it came from. You can see that 12% of total income was the grant money for the agricultural center during that 12-month period, ended March 31st, 2023. And I think what we'll see in 2023, 2024 year is, that the primary revenue line items of stevedoring, loading and unloading, and other income and storage will be higher percentages than the grant, because that was just unusually large in the 2022-2023 fiscal year. Again, when I look at the statements, and you go to C2 and you look at the expenses, just checks paid to the impress fund, the schedule of assets, and the cash on hand. It's, I said this before, the balance sheet and income statement reflect the strategy and execution. They reflect what we hear in the operations reports. They reflect decisions that I hear made around the table during the year, and they reflect very well, I think, on the board, its employees, and its labor force. So that would be sort of my quick report. I make a motion to approve both the primary and secondary and subsidiary financial reports, like exhibits C1 and C2, as presented, but myself, Debbie, Bill, and Pat would be happy to answer any questions. And look for a second.
Second.
Thank you, Reggie.
Thanks, Roger. And that's motion 04-2024-2302. Any discussion? Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Yes. So now we are on to the chairman's report. Fran, you have anything?
Well, just a couple of things. I know everybody got my email here about the running of the lift. Pat was had to take care of an issue with a valve that was laid near the top of the lift. And it's a glitch that seems to occur. Pat, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is when we fire this thing up, it seems like for the first time after the winter. And, we have some issues with some valves sticking with the program, not really going to what we had set it for. So at that point in time, we had to approve the spending of over Pat's limit, and which we did, and this got the valve got corrected, and then we had another issue that popped up that potentially could have cost us more than Pat's spending limit. So at that time, the decision was made to increase Pat's spending limit until Bill got back on his feet, so that we could carry out business. And as it worked out, it really wasn't needed for that particular evolution, but we took care of it in case so the port could run smoothly. So that came up. We did have a couple of executive committee meetings, and Bill, we're working on your contract renewal, and we're also discussing Pat's contract. So we're still working on it. Hopefully we'll get this. I'll be home, guys, probably by the end of May. the second and third week in May, and I should be there for the conclusion of all that. That's all I have.
Committee reports, executive committee. I was able to attend last week the tourism convention over here at the convention center, and at the invitation of Mercedes. And she sent an email to Christina Cruz, K-R-U-I-S-C, who is the planning leader associate for NOAA to set up the venue for NOAA. And so Christina emailed me and asked me to, Connie, please let me know a few dates, times when the board has availability. She would like to chat with us regarding Oswego as a site. And she's interviewing others as well. So I would ask, I'm going to assume that maybe you would prefer Zoom rather than coming in for a meeting to talk with Christina. We can do it by Zoom. It would probably be easier for us to get a date and set it up. But if you prefer, we can meet right here. It's your call. All right, so I will.
Zoom works for me.
Does it, Fran? Does it? Okay.
Do we know when this is gonna be, Connie?
No, I am going to, no, we're going to, I'm gonna have either Debbie or Kim, who's gonna do this, Debbie or Kim, send an email to us and give them some preferred times. And then I'll send them to Christina. So that's to be decided.
Okay.
Other than that, that's all I have. And Tom, you just did audit finance.
Well, I did
Get more?
the finance portion and the audit upcoming, but the audit finance committee did not meet during the last month.
All right. How about governance?
Yes, since our last meeting, I was encouraged by Chairman Enright to recontact the lawyer, the legal team for the board, to find out the status of what I had talked to him about in December. That is the fact that the port has two issues, one on compensatory monies and the second one on insurance. And we've been operating with these two beliefs for some time, and we wanted them written out in the handbook and elsewhere. So I did email Micah, and he wrote back and said he had sent it to another lawyer there, and they will be getting back to me. Now, this seems to me to be a fairly straightforward and procedural decision. This shouldn't be taking all this much time. But anyway, I thought I would let all of you know that that I'm awaiting hearing from the language from the law firm that represents, that gives us advice. And so when that comes, I'll let everybody know. And I hope it comes soon.
Debbie?
Yeah, I can give you a little more update as well. Micah, his other attorney had requested something. It didn't get conveyed to me. So he was waiting on that, thinking that it had gotten conveyed to me. It had not. I have sent that since to him once he let me know that. So that was in regard to the compensatory time.
Yeah.
So that one's in the works, and they're waiting for our SPD, which I had to update, which is almost done. I have one more paragraph that I have to do, and then they'll probably be able to move on the other item as well.
Okay.
So
this is in the works, and it should conclude relatively soon.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All done, John?
Yes, finished.
And how about planning and development, anything?
I don't think we met after the last meeting.
No, we did not.
We had that meeting, BLC 5, but that was still
Okay.
That was last month.
All right. Old business, do we have any old business? None. Going on to new business. Do we need to go to executive session, Bill?
Well, yes, we have discussed ILA negotiation. Fran wants to discuss Dome 4 litigation, so I think that would be appropriate.
Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Kitty? Second? Dan? Could you- And then, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? All right, we are in executive session. It is 5:43 and we are back in regular session. May we entertain a motion to,
Yeah, we only had one item coming out of executive session that would require a motion, and it would really be a motion to ratify the action that was taken last week to enhance the authority of the supervisor of development and maintenance, Patrick McMahon, to extend up to $25,000 without board approval, while the executive director is in limited availability due to medical condition.
Second.
discussion?
No.
Just eat. In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Passed. Have fun.
I'll try not to spend any more than we're having. I'll be at Pat's house tonight. Yes.
So, without any more business, then we will entertain a motion to, whoops, I just messed that up. Adjourn. Diane?
Second.
John? All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Adjourned at 5:40.